Hey, bats, kiddos, Joker here, and you're listening to the Bob Culture Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a very special Royal Rumble edition of the BCP. Right now, you are listening to Slow Chemical, Kane's theme, a cover by my good friends in It Lives a Breeze. Check them out right now on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, all that good stuff. I'm sorry, not iTunes anymore. I keep saying that because I'm an old man.
Apple Music.
Yeah, Apple Music. I know. I'm trying to stay hip with the kids right now. But I'm excited for this one, gentlemen. We are here with the senior staff of the BCP, the OG crew. Since day one-ish. Happy 3-year anniversary to Nunez coming on the Royal Rumble show. For you, man, the co-host of the most. And, of course, let's welcome him in first, the most best-smelling human on the entire planet. He smells so good, I can't speak. The goodest brother, the goodest roommate, Mr. Kriss Nunez. What's up, bro?
I am doing good. Can't wait for the Royal Rumble this Sunday.
It's our favorite, man. This is a good one. And you had stellar picks in your debut 3 years ago. Along with Mike, I think you guys both had perfect picks. And, of course, please welcome back to the show. The Vacc Attack is finally back, Jack.
Back, Jack.
Hashtag Dad Goals. Mr. Michael Vacc. What's up, bro?
What's going on? Always one of my favorite, maybe next to me and my favorite pay-per-view, so I'm happy to be back.
Yes, amen.
It's awesome. And please welcome back our favorite guy with the Randy Orton rants. Of course, he is hashtag lay editor-chief of the popbreak.com. Hashtag. There it is. We're already having fun. Hashtag Dad Instincts. The one and only Mr. Bill Bodkin. What's up, brother?
I'm so excited to talk about Beach Blast and AEW. Let's do this, guys. Oh, wait. Wrong podcast. Seriously, Royal Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view event of all time. So I am very excited to talk about this. Jameson sponsorship in full effect. I'm feeling very vicious tonight.
I hate you. All right, moving on. Of course, you know him as the Anti-Smark and cooker of the best brisket on the planet, Mr. Matthew Widdis. What's up, brother? Nice shirt, bro.
Oh, yes. We are Bob Culture Podcast, and we talk about Royal Rumble. It's time to play the game.
Yeah, time to play the game. Oh, boy. This is what happens when we have the OG crew.
Hi, Lemmy. What's going on, Lemmy?
Oh, boy. R.I.P. We love Lemmy. But, guys, I mean, this is always our favorite pay-per-view. So let's just get right into it. And, as always, we do start with ladies first here on the BCP. So we're going to talk about a match for the women's tag team title. And that is, of course, Charlotte Flair and Asuka taking on Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. I wasn't sure that this was a match. I've been keeping up with everything pretty well. But this is one where I actually do kind of think the titles could change because Charlotte and Asuka are on kind of separate paths right now, it seems, even though they are a unified front as tag team champions. We'll throw it to the Anti-Smark first because you're a big Charlotte, or the Book of Flair follower, I should say.
That's right. Every generation has a Flair, and so it shall be. My thing is, I do see the title changing hands. Shayna and Nia have had this kind of, like, why are you tagging yourself in kind of thing they've been teasing that, but with the Lacey Evans factor coming in, they've been doing that whole thing. I just see this being a way to split that up, get Charlotte and Asuka out of the tag team ranks, allow the tag team title to be its own thing, without always, the top, sorry to say, but the top tier women always doubling up and carrying it away. Yeah, it's time. That puts Charlotte and Asuka in a position to bang heads later.
Yeah, I copy and paste, man. I totally agree with that. Asuka, what a resume speaks for itself. And then you talk about Charlotte, same thing. What is it, like 13-time women's title holder if you count the tag team titles, the NXT titles, and the likes. So obviously I do see them going on separate paths. It's good to see Charlotte back. I actually do like Charlotte as a face. She looks phenomenal. She's in great shape. We'll throw it over to the Vacc Attack is back. Your thoughts on this one? Do we see a title change?
Yeah, I definitely do see a title change. I see more potential right now with Asuka and Charlotte doing singles stuff. And Charlotte with Lacey Evans, like, as you guys brought up, Yeah, I mean, a little bit of an ick factor. I was picking up what you were putting down there, Bill. But I was just disappointed as a whole, if I must say, with the women's tag belts, because I mean, I thought there's not legitimate women's tag teams to do it. There's tons of like women in the company on all the brands. I just don't know if you're going to do it. You got to have tag teams, and you got to stick to the tag teams. But they're not doing it. But not to digress.
I get what you're saying. No, I agree.
But Shayna and Nia, I think they'll eventually get the belts back, and who will challenge them at Mania? I don't know. Might have another makeshift team, maybe like a Dana Brooke. What's her name?
Mandy Rose.
Liv Morgan.
Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose right now. Yeah.
Oh, Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. Yeah, I'm only that Liv, but could be Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott. Who the heck knows? But yeah, I mean, I see Charlotte doing some sort of solo match, whether it's for a belt or not. But they know we're in Asuka obviously has a women's belt, so they'll do something with that. I think this is mainly something for Charlotte to be able to say that she held every single women's belt in the company.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'll pass it along, but I mean, long story short, I'm sorry. Nia, Shayna, they take it back.
Absolutely. No, really well said. And again, I agree with that. I do believe Charlotte is listed to be in the Women's Rumble as well. That's very telling to me, looking at it that way. And that was a great point, Vacc. You said there's not a lot of natural tag teams right now. They broke up the Iconics. The Riot Squad is kind of 2 out of 3. We see Billy Kay kind of rolling with them. You see the Women's Dusty Rhodes tournament, which we watched the other day.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. Obviously, no NXT involvement as far as we know with the Rumble, which I understand this time around, with everything going on in the world. But you look at a lot of makeshift tag teams in the Women's Dusty tournament. And one of the only natural tag teams in that tournament, Casey Catanzaro, and was it Caden Carter now?
And they're great together. Yeah. They obviously 2 likable faces on the rise. Obviously not quite yet ready for solo title status, but I mean they're really well together. I love their matching gear. I mean, who knows if the winner of the Dusty Women's Classic will get eventually a women's tag belt?
I would think they should.
I think they would. So. Maybe I don't know about a takeover, but No Way Out and something might happen. And I think they would deserve a spot on the card. Let them get some.
Yeah, Caden with that 15-30 corkscrew.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I get that. Nooner, your thoughts on this match? You think we see a title change here?
Yeah, I do think we see a title change. Just even the way that they had Charlotte return on this. This was Lana's storyline to win the tag titles, and I'm not really the biggest Lana person, but it should have been her in there. They pulled it for some reason. Hopefully it's not a legitimate injury, but it's a makeshift team. When you watch Raw, they don't even focus on them. They're in multiple segments, but they don't even focus on them as the tag team champions. So them being singles just kind of seems like it's inevitable. So the title, I mean, it at this point didn't even matter who was in the match. The fact was that I think the tag titles are going to change hands.
Yeah, very well said, man. I think we're all on the same page. Let's throw it to Bill. Do you agree with us here, bro?
I do, and I hate it. Because it's just like you guys have said, the women's tag belts have been very transitive. They've always been like second banana to whatever storylines in there. They're always an adjective instead of a noun, basically. So I would love it if, and I think this is what's going to happen, is whoever wins the Dusty Classic will be involved in probably a multi-team tag match at Mania for the women's tag belts. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that tournament plays out because there's some very interesting teams in there. But, I mean, yeah, this was destined from the jump. This was a cool way to introduce Charlotte back to WWE after a lengthy hiatus. And now it's, like you guys said, they haven't really been in a lot of, backstage moments together at all. We're seeing more often than them not, they're separated. So, yeah, they don't need these belts. Neither one of them needs these belts. No. I do think this has the potential, because I'm usually wrong about everything, this has the potential to lead to a Charlotte Lacey Evans Raw Women's title match at WrestleMania. Because I feel like that's the only thing they're building here, unless we're going to see the Asuka Alexa Bliss thing pay off, and I don't think we will, because why pay anything off of The Fiend at this point? But, sorry, bitter Betty over here, is I think that's what we're going to see, that those two are it's a collision course. They're building this for the long term with Lacey and Charlotte, so I think that goes to WrestleMania with the belt.
Very interesting. Yeah, we'll see how this plays out, and we'll keep it moving along here, guys. We'll throw it to, I believe, the United States Championship match. That's, of course, Matt Riddle taking on Bobby Lashley of the Hurt Business for that championship match. I'm just gonna say, obviously not a fan of Riddle as much, more so for outside of the ring stuff. So I'm just gonna go. I think Bobby Lashley retains here, and in more of a fun storyline. I love how Truth keeps popping in for the Hurt Business stuff. I say we see MVP get that 24/7 title, like we keep saying on the BCP. MVP has literally been the MVP of Raw in 2020, and so on and so forth. He's been killing it 2021. I'd like to see them all have the gold, almost like an undisputed era kind of thing. We saw them get him the THB chain instead of the MVP chain. I thought that was very brilliant. So I'd like to see him win that 24/7 championship, and like to see R-Truth in more of their segments as well. So I see Lashley retaining here. Let's throw it to the Anti-Smark.
Yeah, I do think they're going to retain only because it's been working. They've introduced Matt Riddle into the mix with the Hurt Business for a couple of weeks now. It's been pretty inconsistent, but what isn't over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's working. It's working. There's no reason to take it off of Bobby Lashley because the next Matt Riddle is going to be around. He's going to come around in the next 2 weeks for them to do this all again until it's time that they find somebody to take it off of him. Somebody, that they feel is going to take that next step. And I don't think they see it with Matt Riddle right now.
I agree. Bill, I'm sure you have some thoughts.
I think Lashley's going to retain because the greater story here is not if Matt Riddle can win the title, it's the implosion of the Hurt Business, which I hate to see because the Hurt Business... they've been teasing this for weeks with Shelton and Cedric, of them not getting along and Cedric trying to be the, showboat and show out over Shelton and make Shelton look dumb. So I feel like that's the bigger story they're telling here, which I don't think is the right story to tell because it's like the Hurt Business that's the New Age Horseman. Like it's like everyone loves the Undisputed Era, but like the Hurt Business has this cachet and this swagger that no faction has really had. I even say like people will say evolution, but I felt that was so forced in my opinion. So it's like I feel like this is way more natural. Like, these guys came together like the Horsemen, and they're dominating like the Horsemen. But they've been trying to... But they can't keep stuff together. They want to break it up immediately. And I don't see the purpose of that. But then again, I don't see the purpose in a lot of stuff WWE does with storylines. So, I don't think Riddle... the only thing I could see here is Riddle takes it because Shelton and or Cedric cost him the match, and that's what causes the... Actually, you know what? I'm changing my mind. Matt Riddle's going to win because of that. You know what?
Really?
Yeah, I've convinced myself because I feel like they're hell-bent on breaking up the Hurt Business. So I feel like Riddle will win because of shenanigans that happen because the Hurt Business can't get along.
Wow. So Mr. Bodkin going more of the implosion of the Hurt Business angle. That's very interesting.
Usually wrong. So take it for what you will.
Vacc.
I'm sticking with Lashley. I think it would make the Hurt Business look extremely weak if somehow Riddle is able to overcome a 4-on-1. Let's face it, even though that's a 1-on-1 match, it's a 4-on-1 advantage. I'm not the biggest Riddle fan. I've said that for a while. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, with no pads and your bare feet, I'm sorry. It looks like you're wrestling in your bedroom with your wrestling buddies from Tonka. Yeah,
that's a throwback.
Yeah,
listen, ain't nothing. Hey, listen, shoes suck. I have no problem with that. There's just other things that bother me about him.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Well,
Bill's not just anti-shoes. Yes.
I understand. Okay. Don't go to Colorado. Anyway. No, but I mean, look. I've loved the Hurt Business. I think they've been great. I mean, Lashley's not my favorite, but Cedric and Shelton, if they're on TV consistently every week and they're in matches every week, I'm all for it because those guys are just too damn good. Yeah, I know they're teasing some kind of implosion, but I think this stays the course, and I like what you said, Rob, about the 24/7 belt possibly going to MVP. So yes, they're all having gold around their neck. Go like Razor. Gold around their neck, gold around their waist. I'm not going to do the Cuban accent, but
thank you.
You're welcome.
But you're just like I can't even pull that off. What are you doing, man?
I could see them all like going and doing some kind of 8-man tag match at Mania where all their belts are on the line against like some sort of like Riddle and some kind of card face, and then that could be the implosion because one person's pinfall will cause them all to lose their gold to the opposing team. I mean, they've done that before.
I would love that.
They've done that before. Where like, oh, it's like you can lose. Like Eddie Guerrero lost the Intercontinental belt without getting pinned, or vice versa, or whatever it was. Or like they did mixed tag matches. The Intercontinental title was on the line, but I think the Hurt Business. We'll run through Mania. I mean, after Mania, they can always hit the reset button. But I like what they're doing with it, and if they're going to implode, let them implode at Mania on a stage like that with some sort of stakes like that. But for the Rumble right now, I'm saying Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, I think Bobby Lashley's a great pick. I don't see the Hurt Business imploding this soon, but again, it could happen. Nunez, any thoughts?
To Bill's point, they really can't keep anything together. It doesn't make sense right now to have the Hurt Business implode. It's one of the better things that was going on in 2020.
Absolutely.
Finally, for guys like Shelton, who's been around for such a long time and wasn't getting any shine, and especially Cedric Alexander, who's extremely underrated. He wasn't being used. So I see Riddle's kind of like a bump in the road. I do think that Lashley retains, and I think the Hurt Business goes from there.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what happens for sure. Maybe it'll be a good match, but again, I just see Lashley retaining, and I would like to see the gold around the waist of MVP as well. I'm invested in that. I'm excited about that, so that gives me a reason to watch right there. Let's move on. Now we just have some title matches moving forward. Let's throw it to Drew taking on Goldberg, coming back. Some sound effects going on here, but I'll say this. I'm the first one to admit when I'm wrong. I've said several times on this show when Drew did the face turn, I wasn't about it. I hated the 3-2-1 Claymore kick, which he did get rid of.
Yeah.
But that being said, he's killed it as a face. I'm a fan. When he got COVID, he was still on Raw every week, just via satellite or sending in the videos. And he's got this really ultra face thing about him, it's next level. Not to say they eat the vitamin C or prayers thing. I think about what you always said this, but we won't say that. But he's so good at it, and I love that he checked in every week, and he's like, hey, luckily I had very little symptoms, I lost my taste, but I was still able to train 4 days in, and this match goes out to anyone who's had this terrible disease or lost someone, and I'm like, man, he's killing it, and it's also organic and it's also genuine. So I was very wrong on that. He's doing a great job. I'm happy to see him champion. I'd love to see him be champion at WrestleMania and finally getting that long-deserved ovation that we've been saying all the time here on the BCP that he deserves. He's been killing it. You obviously know where I'm going on this one. I hope it's a good match. Yeah.
Drew McIntyre, hell of a guy, so awesome, love him. Goldberg's winning.
No, sir. I got to go with Drew McIntyre. I'd love to see him carry the belt into WrestleMania. I hope they put on a good match. I want this to look good. I'll throw it to Bill.
I hope for a lot of things too in life, but I don't often get them. This match, well, it suffered a lot of unfortunate circumstances. Goldberg comes out and cuts that promo. Unfortunately, because they were running late, short on time, Drew didn't get to cut his promo to set it up, so it felt very weird. Goldberg pushes him down, so you got the badass champion on his ass because a 50-plus-year-old guy shoved him. Then we had, unfortunately, Drew contracting COVID, and we couldn't have any of the promos. We got David Krumholtz from Numbers to come in and play a overweight Drew McIntyre. Listen, I'm happy Gilbert got a payday. This has been a weird build. One thing I don't want to see happen is the Miz comes in and he eats the pin from somebody, so we don't get a real winner, because that would be dumb. But because they're trying to protect people. Goldberg is yikes, honestly, and I'm very concerned about this match because I was watching the playoffs, the NFL playoffs. I mean, they're talking about a guy like Myles Garrett coming back from COVID, and him not being able to have his stamina and just be fully ready. Nick Jackson from AEW saying he had COVID. It took him months to get his stamina, months to get his power back. A at deficit Drew McIntyre going up against a guy who is, we criticize Nia Jax, but Goldberg is the prototype for this. Ended Bret Hart's career. Almost lost an arm because he decided, because he was angry, to smash his arm through a window of a car and severed an artery. Gave himself a concussion hitting a door with his head and nearly kills The Undertaker, allegedly. That's what worries me about this match. Is like, can we get a good match? If Drew's not 100%, Goldberg wrestles at 25% at best. Like, this could be really bad. So they got to keep it short. They got to keep it sweet. But by doing that, and if Drew wins, you kind of ruin Goldberg. Kind of like we did last year at WrestleMania, where, was it, who beat him? Braun Strowman beat him in like...
Yeah, Braun Strowman, yeah.
He smushed him in 3 minutes, and he looked like a chump. But now I'm supposed to believe he's going to beat... But then again, he made The Fiend look like a chump. So it's this whole... Goldberg is just wildly problematic. This whole thing stinks. I hope it's quick. Drew McIntyre should win this. I'm just hoping Goldberg doesn't go into the Royal Rumble and wins and then goes faces Roman. That's my fear. I don't want that to happen. Because I've read online, there's sources within WWE saying there is a finish to the Rumble which scares the hell out of people that is being seriously considered, and I'm like, that's one of them. For sure.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so it's like, let's just hope this is merciful and okay at best, because I think that's as good as we can. Because Drew's great, but like, we don't know what he's going to be like physically due to unfortunately having COVID.
That's really, I mean, you knocked it out of the park on that one, Bill. Really well said. So many things, man. You brought up The Miz.
I talk a lot, I know.
No, it was great. You brought up The Miz. That's a great point. We've seen him involved in everything on Raw. Obviously, the Money in the Bank briefcase. He's actually in the Rumble, which I don't think necessarily needs to be done, being that he has the briefcase. I think someone else might be able to take that spot. No disrespect. Obviously, we love The Miz. But I think that is the ending, man. Like, when you said it, I see that Miz gets involved. It's a DQ, no contest. They both beat him up, him and Morrison, kind of like what we saw on Raw. Everyone's safe because you have a guy like Drew McIntyre who beat Brock Lesnar with, 3 Claymore kicks. You have Goldberg, jackhammer spear, whatever it is, done. So this could be a very short match either way. These are both powerhouses. These guys get those quick finishes, It's like when you go into the game and you start with 2 finishers. You know what I'm talking about? That's these guys going into this one. So, Bill, I think you're very right about this one, and I hope, because now, no disrespect to Goldberg, but I think Drew deserves to carry this title into WrestleMania, like I said over and over again. Vacc.
Agree with you 100%. And the only way I see Miz getting involved is if it's like to take some of the pressure off of Goldberg, because let's face it, he's older, he's limited, and Drew is coming back from COVID. Triple threat, you have an extra guy to share the weight of the match. But, hopefully not, and hopefully, like you said, this is a good 5 to 10 minute, couple big spots, and done. Drew, with everything, should win this match. I hope he wins this match. He deserves to go into Mania. I'll have a little thing about who he should face at Mania later on, but I'll save that for the Rumble.
Okay.
But yeah, Bill, now that you brought up the fact that if Goldberg wins, then what if Drew, enters the Rumble, wins it, faces Roman? What if Drew retains and Goldberg enters the Rumble and wins it and gets the match with Roman that was supposed to happen last year?
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen either, because I have also other ideas for Roman. Roman and Drew.
I would be okay if Drew won it and fought Roman, because they had a hell of a match and they had a champion.
Well, they had a fantastic match at Survivor
Oh,
Series.
no, Survivor Series. I'm sorry.
No, they did. It was a great match. It was one of the best, at least for, people say AEW or NXT, but it was definitely one of the best main roster WWE matches of last year, without question.
Absolutely.
And a rematch, I get excited for a rematch. Totally. But, I would like to see, I think McIntyre deserves to give somebody, he's there from that point where he gives someone else a little bit of rub for sharing the ring with someone else, just like Roman has deserved, to share the ring with someone else. I think they both deserve to carry their own separate title matches. Later on down the road, when one of them drops it, who knows? But anyway, I hope, and I see Drew retaining.
It's a great point, man. Like you say, Drew going into the Rumble and then taking on Roman again. I wouldn't be totally against that, but it's like Nunez and I always say, like, what's the marquee? Like, what's on the poster? Like, what are we going to see going into WrestleMania? And again, I know I keep saying this over and over, but let Drew bring, he's fought so much to get to this level. He's fought through COVID. Exactly. Let him carry that belt down the aisle with fans in attendance at WrestleMania. Nooner.
3 things stood out to me in 2020, to me personally. Like we talked about the Hurt Business.
Yeah.
Roman's heel turn, which is like, it's almost like another chapter to his career. It's completely, it's been great.
It's money.
And Drew's redemption story. When he won the Rumble last year, I was like, I hope they strap the rocket to him, and I hope they give him a long title reign. And for the most part, he has. Besides that, what was it? 2 weeks? 2 weeks with Orton.
A little hiccup with Orton. Yeah.
Honestly, at this point, I don't even care what kind of match it is. Drew needs to win. He can't lose this match. He deserves to go into Mania with fans, and he deserves a long title reign. I could see the Miz getting involved. It could cause a distraction, but I would hope that they would give Drew a clean win. I don't care even if the match is good or not. Drew needs to win this.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Matt.
Yeah. Seems like everybody seems to be on the same page with, Goldberg is limited, to say the least. What type of limitations are on Drew right now? I'm just recovering from COVID myself. Now I'm a little bit older and not and nowhere near the same condition that Drew McIntyre is. Pretty close. Not really quite there. But no, it took me a couple of weeks before I was able to work out again and not be absolutely spent for the rest of the day. And that's why, just to be difficult, I am declaring the winner of Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg at Royal Rumble to be The Miz.
Really? Yeah.
Because why the hell not?
That's fair.
20 minutes before they're about to go throughout the curtain. Let me tell you what's going to happen to Pal. The Miz is going to win this. Going to run at the end to be a schmoz. It'll be great. Such good shit.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Well, bro, it's good to see you healthy, man.
Yeah, definitely.
It's good to see you healthy, up and running, man. You look great in that BCP shirt. Available now on cpublic.com.
Discount today.
Jesus, come on.
No, man, we love you, bro. It's so good to see you. More importantly, shameless promo. All right.
That was shameless.
Coupon code Handsome Bob.
No,
I'm going to call you William H. Macy from now on because you are shameless.
No.
Don't think you're the only one who could do puns on commentary.
No.
Shameless.
I can't wait till we're all in the same room again watching wrestling together, guys. That's what we want. And Matt, so glad you and the fam are healthy for sure.
Exactly.
All right, let's move it on now to the there you go. Universal Championship match with Roman Reigns, who Nunez says has been money. It's been perfect. We've said that a million times here on the show. I won't go on about it. Versus one of Bill's favorite, Kevin Owens, in a last man standing match. We've seen them face off a few times before. But right now, you think, again, we talked about the marquee. Like, what's the match? Who's Reigns going to take on at Mania? I think that's the big question mark. The money match, obviously The Rock for storyline reasons, obviously for the star power. I know there's mixed feelings about part-timers, but you have a name the caliber of The Rock. That's huge. That being said, I don't think it's happening. I don't think any of us think that's happening. But that would be this year. Yeah, with everything
not until you can pack 80,000 people into a building.
Absolutely. Yeah. Arn Anderson said it the same way. He said it should happen. But yes.
Absolutely. And I'll keep it short and sweet here.
Anytime Arn Anderson says anything, y'all listen.
Yeah. Oh, hey, that's right, man. Just like when Bill Bodkin says something.
Nope.
But
double B.
Nope. All right. Double B, double A. Yeah.
Nope.
That's not going away. Double B. All right. But yeah, so I think Reigns obviously going to win here. They've made this organic, even though they've fought a bunch of times before. It's going to be a last man standing match. I did enjoy Owens' promo where he talked about the tattoos he had on his knuckles. I think it was his father and father-in-law. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it's possibly a grandfather. I can't remember off the top of my head.
That's what it was. I'm mistaken. But he said he fought for those men who didn't get to see him make it to the WWE, but were always very supportive of his career. I thought it was a great and passionate promo. What he's doing right now, and another guy who I'm not a fan of as much as a face, but he's been killing it, man. Always tongue-in-cheek, always a little sarcastic, but at the same time, all passion. That being said, Roman Reigns is money right now. There is no way that Roman loses this match to Kevin Owens. No way. If anyone disagrees with me, you can jump in. Otherwise, I'm just going to throw it to Bill because you love Owens.
I do love Owens. This match is going to be awesome. This match is going to be awesome. Kevin Owens, for anyone who ever sleeps on Kevin Owens, I say, you know what? You don't watch enough wrestling in your life. Kevin Owens proves that when there's plunder and mayhem to be had, Kevin Owens excels. And he is going to put his body on the line, and he's going to take some ridiculous stuff. And Roman Reigns right now literally is the best thing in WWE. Think about this. 2 years ago, this guy wasn't even in wrestling because he was recovering from leukemia coming back.
Yeah.
Now is doing his best work. He is everything we've wanted him to be. He's what we wanted John Cena to be. That bad guy that we respect. He is going to win this match, and this is going to be brutal with a capital B. And I'm here for it.
Absolutely. Can't wait till KO jumps off a pirate ship at we'll see.
And because they don't do it in WWE, this match needs blood. This needs a double coast to coast double juice, brother. This is I'm talking like
Coast to
gallons.
coast.
No one agrees with me. No one wants it in WWE. I want it. I'm just saying.
Well, we'll see what happens. But let's throw it over to the head of the table at the Widdis household, the Anti-Smark.
That's not his wife.
Yeah, same as you're saying. You don't take the belt off of Roman right now. What's going on now with Kevin Owens as the face and Roman Reigns as the heel Universal Championship is what should have always done. A few years ago, they did it where the roles reversed, where Roman was supposed to be the plucky up-and-comer trying to take it away from heel champ Kevin Owens, and it just seemed ridiculous the whole time. This is what they wanted to do. This is what they should have been doing. And this is probably, depending on what they pull out of their ass for the Rumble, this is match of the night.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And this could be, it has all the potential in the world to be something like Tully versus Magnum in the steel cage, where we're talking about it 20, 30 years later.
Or if we want to pull from Royal Rumble history, Cactus Triple H.
We were there, baby. We were there. We were there.
Kevin Owens doesn't have tax in him by the end of the night. Why are we even here? Why are we even here?
Vacc.
Look, I love Kevin Owens. Been a fan of him ever since he was Kevin Steen in Ring of Honor. I remember I told Matt, I'm like, oh, you got to come to the show. You got to check this guy out. He's chunky, but he's agile, and he carries himself like a star, both in the ring and on the mic. He's awesome. And if you had told me a year ago that I'd be rooting for Roman Reigns over him, I would have told you were nuts. Wow. But I'm rooting for Roman Reigns in this because I want Roman Reigns' run to continue. I'm loving this from him. Ditching that stupid vest. Didn't really need his attitude. Doesn't even need Paul Heyman, but Paul Heyman just adds Heyman just adds like 1,000 cherries on top. But this is the Roman we all wanted. Like you said, this is the way Cena was supposed to be. That we all wanted Cena to be, and he never did. Roman's doing it, and he may be the best. He's the biggest star in WWE that we're all happy with. And I know people want to say, "Oh, WWE's are passe, they're out of touch," blah blah blah.
I mean, they are, but okay.
Okay.
This is the best thing they're doing. This is the best thing they're doing.
It is the best thing they're doing.
Hands down. Like there is number 2, and then 50 miles away is number 1 with Roman Reigns.
All right, yes, but I'm also saying like the fact that like, oh my god, like WWE. When people are WWE, everything WWE is crap. Wah wah. And I'm like, you got what you wanted. Roman's doing it. You want him to do this, and he's unbelievable. He should go into Mania as champion without question. Of course, if The Rock gets the nod 24 hours ahead of time, it'll affect whoever wins the Rumble. Because it's going to be Rock and Roman. Or not. Or whatever. Or a match.
Yeah, I still see that in front of people.
Yeah.
I still see that in front of a lot of people.
If they knew they could get The Rock this year, guaranteed this year, instead of rolling the dice for next year, they're going to have him this year.
The smart money, to me, would be they guarantee they have The Rock. The Rock comes out at the end of WrestleMania and says, I'll see you in a year. That's the smart money.
You know what? You're absolutely right. And Rock is calling his shots in Hollywood where he can clear his shooting schedule and his XFL schedule, whatever else he does. And
I forgot he bought the XFL.
The guy runs Hollywood now. He is totally Hollywood Rock. He can call his shot and he can say, listen, what studio heads? I'm wrestling my cousin in a year's time. Deal with it. But anyway, yeah, Roman's winning this match.
Yeah.
No question.
By the
I
way,
agree.
Young Rock debuts on NBC in a couple weeks, so I'm excited.
Yeah, it should be great.
Everybody hates Dwayne, or everybody loves Dwayne.
Everybody loves Dwayne.
You know what? Everyone loves Roman right now, and I think we all agree on that.
You know who everyone else loves? Kriss Nunez.
That's so bad. I mean, it's true. If I'm the one person that doesn't like Kriss Nunez, that's
My boss.
Stop. We love Nunez. And speaking of which, let's throw it to the handsome fella.
Again, I love Kevin Owens. This isn't a knock on him, but Roman is on, like I pointed out before, probably one of the it is the best thing that WWE is doing right now. It's the highlight of 2020 last year, besides Drew's redemption story. I love Kevin Owens. This isn't a knock on him, but this is a run of a lifetime for Roman. He needs to continue on. If The Rock isn't the opponent for WrestleMania this year, I'll call it now. He's going to retain at WrestleMania. He's going to have a long run with this belt.
Very well said, man. I 100% agree. And Nunez rocking the hell out of that beard right now. I'll tell you that right now. Beard. Bill,
It's all Joanna.
I see Bill shaking his head.
No. He is.
Oh,
He's
okay.
doing great. We had this on podcast. I'm trying to get AEW ready for Dynamite. That's
I was going to say, it's obvious messed up. You're like, this podcast better not go long because
I knew it was.
I will say this. We all agree Roman is money. He's been
Yes.
great. Should hold the belt. We have no problem with that. I'll nitpick a little bit, and it's really good. Like, I can't even say this, but I think change the music. It's still that Shield theme.
They are.
I think they're going to debut his music probably at the Rumble.
Maybe you think at the Rumble. There you go. I agree with that. If not
Yeah.
Mania.
Would it be like a
Yeah.
remix? I still like it.
No, because I
get
think
rid
get
of
away
it.
from
It's
the
over.
I think they're going to
Yeah.
completely change it.
I think get away from it. But we'll see. And again, it has to be right, man. Do they incorporate some of anything from like the Samoan culture or anything like that? I don't know. And it has to be right. You know, I'm sure there'll be a lot of criticism as there always is. But he's been great right now. Let's get it right. I'm excited for that. And speaking about being excited, I know what a great segue. But I'm pumped for the Women's Royal Rumble match. If I can read my crummy handwriting here. We have confirmed so far Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair, as we said earlier, is in the match. The role model Bayley, Bianca Belair, the EST of WWE. We have, if I can read my handwriting, we have Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, former interview on thepoprate.com. Check it out right now. Featuring the Good Brother and myself. Peyton Royce, Shayna Baszler, Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, Tamina, plus 18 others. I'll put it this way right now. Do you guys see any special appearances or anyone else
Mike Orlando is not coming to the
Royal Rumble?
Mike Orlando cannot enter the Women's Royal Rumble.
Wow, there it
so,
is.
hey, deep cut.
Is anyone else feeling the glow here? First, before we pick our winners, any returns? And if you see someone sitting behind Vacc over there,
no, that's not happening.
You don't think so?
No.
We've always been a Becky show. We have to add.
It would be it's a matter of weeks. They'd have to put her in and out quickly.
Or have her,
you
she'd
know.
have to be at the end and win. And, like, after having a baby.
She wouldn't have to win.
I would.
Dude, she had a baby in December.
I agree. That's why I'm like, because she's doing all the social media stuff, putting in the work. You think no way whatsoever?
There's a slim chance. For me, for that.
So you're saying there's a chance?
I mean, sure, but I think Matt and I can attest being dads, being front row to birth. That takes a lot out of people. A month or less than 2 months out, that's a tough call, man. That's risking it, and I don't think you want to do that because it's just that's a lot to ask.
And I agree with that.
I don't see Becky. I don't see Becky, honestly.
Is it worth asking the question though?
Of
just
course,
it's
wrestling. When isn't any question worth asking? But I mean, hey, John Cena in what year in Madison Square Garden? Everyone's like, no way he's coming back.
We were there.
We were there.
So, but Becky, that's birth though. That's tough. That's real tough, man. Like Matt and I have been there. It's
to put it in perspective, a torn abdominal muscle is what took Ron Simmons out of pro football. A small human being coming out of you is a lot worse than a torn abdominal muscle. I've never had either, and I hope not to.
Yeah,
but
I mean, Yeah.
So
Unless we're the
does
movie
anyone
Junior
look
with
for
Arnold
a wife?
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, shout to all the lovely wives and women for sure. But we digress. So does anyone see Becky coming back? Is there a chance? Does anyone or see any other surprise?
Okay,
returns?
I will say this because look, it's the Rumble. Becky doesn't have to have a carry a 15-minute match.
It's kind of perfect, right?
Yeah, I'm saying like Becky could come in number 30. Whoa! It comes in with 10 other women in the ring. And, she doesn't even have to do much. Just to throw punches, throw people over push people over
It's
the
about
ropes.
the pop.
Look, I'm not
What
saying
pop?
that.
What pop is the question? What the Zoom
me?
call? The Zoom call that's around the arena? Like
Well,
that's the thing.
I don't mean in person. I mean just like to everyone who's had just such a tough year, man. Like,
Look,
WWE
I mean, we'll
is
find
about-
out.
I can
We'll
see
see the
Becky
answer.
coming in. Look, I can see Becky coming in and being one of the Final Four. Just her face, everything like that would be awesome. And like you said, it could be a one-off. She's out. She's eliminated. Little star power. Oh my God, Becky Lynch. And then she can do like Zoom or Skype over the next several weeks afterwards, saying, "Oh, when do you expect to come back?" And she's like, "Don't worry, I'll come back at the right time." And they eventually build for her return match at Mania against somebody, maybe another rising mid-card heel who Becky can give her the rub to, to help promote that.
See, that's where I see it happening.
Yeah, no,
that's where I
a
see it
smart
happening at
choice.
WrestleMania. She pulls like a Rock. Like, remember they had that one match where it was like Stone Cold and Mick Foley and Shawn Michaels came out. And they,
Yeah.
That's where I see it happening, not the Rumble. Because you also got to take in consideration not just the physicality of being in the Rumble, but we're still in the middle of a pandemic, and she just had a newborn.
You know what? I didn't think of that. Bill,
Yeah, so it's like for her to travel. And quarantine, that's a tough ask. I mean, could it happen? Of course it could happen. But man, there's a lot of mitigating factors in the world, I think, right now that are like, I wouldn't bank on Becky Lynch. WrestleMania is a very different story because they've pushed it back. It's a few months later. We're getting vaccines. That I could definitely see. That's my opinion. I'm usually wrong, so that's all
that's the smart money. I think the obvious choice is we will see Becky Lynch for WrestleMania. This is obvious, and we're not like a speculation type of show, but obviously the reason I bring it up is she changed her Twitter status. It's time to get back to work. There was a lot of speculation there. I did have to bring it up, obviously, again, being such a pro Becky show, and it would be a nice treat for the fans. But that being said, of course, yes, the world is a crazy place right now. Of course, WrestleMania makes a lot more sense. So I'll open up the floor. Does anyone else see? I really think Naomi is coming back. I don't see any NXT. Yeah, how'd you know? I'm feeling the glow. What can I say? I don't see the NXT ladies getting involved here, although
they have
great.
to. You have 18 spots open.
That's where I was going with it. Right. So my thought is, where do you go with this? Because in my mind, they're clearly not involving NXT in any way, shape, or form.
You've said that like 2 or 3 times.
Have they said they were involving NXT?
Do they ever say they're involved? They don't.
Yeah, they have.
When?
Was it like 2 years ago, I believe? No, that was Survivor Series as well.
Survivor Series, like in the Royal Rumble, we've had for years and years and years. Remember Adam Cole was in the year Shinsuke Nakamura was in. They didn't announce Adam Cole. They didn't say NXT.
No, I agree. No, I get what you're saying. No, I agree with that. Yeah, Gargano's been in, Alistair. No,
but they've never said, like, I have not heard we've never heard a definitive yes. We've never heard and this year we've not heard a definitive no.
No. I mean, again, let's be real. No one probably knows the answer as of recording right now. But that being said, they're in 2 completely different facilities. Correct me if I'm wrong.
They're in Florida. Florida has no rules, though. Like, we know this. People are in Disneyland right now. Disney World.
This is taking a turn. But does anyone see any surprise returns? Does anyone see any surprise returns?
I see one.
All right, what do you got?
And I'm going to do that with segging into, I wouldn't say it's return, but segging into who I think is going to win, and that is Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, okay. I think for sure this is more of a call-up.
Yeah, I mean, it is a
my dark horse. Yeah.
It's a call-up, okay? But granted, it's like NXT now is on the left. It's like the third brand. It's not the little kid indies anymore. It's featured on national television. It's the third brand.
It's only developmental when it loses to AEW in the ratings. By the way, according to Twitter.
There it is.
According to Twitter, not according to this podcast, but according to Twitter.
Okay, thank you, Bill.
Also, when it wins.
But when it wins, it's the third brand, and I'm just like.
No, but I mean, I can see Rhea Ripley. Like, look, they talked about her match. She had a great match with Raquel Gonzalez several weeks ago.
Yeah.
Last woman standing. Check it out if you haven't seen. But I can see her coming in, and then she gets to play different role though with Charlotte. She kept trying to call out Charlotte, saying, "You face me." I'm not gonna do the Australian accent either.
Thank you.
I'm just not in the mood. But I can see her coming out. I can see her eventually feuding with like Sasha Banks. I see that as like a good clash of personalities and styles and everything like that for a potential Mania match, and Rhea possibly winning the belt there. But I mean, I'm gonna go with Rhea Ripley because the fans know who she is by now. She's not, oh my God, she showed up. Like, I know some people say Bianca Belair, and don't get me wrong, Bianca Belair is amazing. She's a freak athlete. It's insane what she can do. It's, probably one of the greatest female, or hell, athletes, period, WWE's had in a long time. But still, I mean, sadly, she came up when, like, there hasn't been any live audience. We haven't known, like, what kind of gauge and everything like that as far as, like, her reaction. I still think it's a little too soon, but Rhea Ripley's had such a dominant run. She had that great match with Charlotte last year. And she had the NXT title run. It's been a lot of great things. I see her coming up and winning this Rumble.
Okay, Nooner.
So this is wishful thinking, with COVID and the pandemic, and so many legends we've had, Trish Stratus, Lita, Molly Holly. The one that they haven't done, and I don't know if this will happen, but I would love for Victoria to show up. I would love that. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Last one ever going to happen.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's wishful thinking. But as far as picks go, dark horse is Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, I see
but
that.
I do see Bianca Belair winning.
Yeah. I think you're right, and I'll just piggyback off what you said, Nunez. And I'm doing the math here, Bill. Obviously, I announced 12. There's 18 left. I could pencil in about 5 to 6 more names, so we'll say 8
Brother,
to 10
I have
spots.
a whole Excel spreadsheet. I could.
Dude, we'll throw it to you next. All right, man. We'll throw it to you next. But we're talking about those 8 to 10 spots. So we're saying, are those going to be NXT talent?
Yeah.
Are they going to be returning? I think what was it? Alundra Blaze was tweeting some stuff about retirement, something like that. So we'll see what's going on there. I'm going to agree. I got to say the EST of WWE, formerly the EST of NXT, the total package. We got to meet her. She's super nice. What's that?
Lex Luger, he's back.
There it is.
Back.
But I just watched
that is so loaded.
Complete package. We'll say.
Yes, she makes her own gear. Even I mean, going
Which
the extra
the gear
mile.
is fantastic.
It's awesome. The total package. A very sweet person. As I said, we got to meet her. Name drop right there. But I see her going all the way. I think the time is now. I hate it when you sleep on people because there's injuries and who knows what happens or politics and all that kind of stuff. Push her to the moon. Strap on the jetpack like you said, Nunez. And I say this one, I'm going to go Bianca Belair. Final answer for me. Bill, I know you have some thoughts on the Women's Rumble, so I'm very anxious to sit back and see what you got.
Okay, so I'm just I'm not looking at anyone right now. I'm literally on an Excel spreadsheet because this is what I do during work. So here's the thing. So unannounced right now from the Raw brand, we mentioned Becky Lynch already. We don't have Nikki Cross, Naomi, Lacey Evans, Lana, or Mia Yim. I could see of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Who's Mia Yim?
I'm sorry, Reckoning. Because
Anyway.
Retribution is a great
That
angle.
sour look on his face. Look at that.
Just got really quiet. Go ahead.
Such
We love Mia Yim.
Shit
My
box.
tummy hurts.
On SmackDown, we still have not announced Billie Kay, Carmella, Natalya, Mickie James, and Sonya Deville. I definitely see Sonya, Natalya, Carmella, and I would love to see Billie Kay in there. She is hilarious and needs to be in there.
Yeah, she is.
Let's talk about these surprises that we have not talked about. Oh, well, that have not been mentioned yet. Taya Valkyrie, wife of John Morrison, free
Done.
agent,
I
has
forgot
not
about
been
that.
announced. Loera Loca, she's awesome. Could definitely see that. There's a strong possibility she goes there. We don't know. Nothing's confirmed. Definite possibility. The person I bring up every goddamn major pay-per-view we talk about, Ronda friggin' Rousey.
You've been doing it for years.
God damn it. And I have to say that other sites are saying that. Ronda Rousey even saying, hey, look, you want to make some money if you're investing on GameStop right now, maybe bet on this of Ronda coming back. That would be a huge moment. I know we talk about fans, but her contract is up in April. Why not get the most out of this right now?
Wow.
Someone else that has not been mentioned, a controversial name that everyone on this site knows very well, Tessa Blanchard.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Definitely could see that as a possibility. Her name has been bandied around WWE, possibly signing her. We're a year removed from everything that happened. Of course, you do have the legends. You could easily see someone like a Tori Wilson, a Kelly Kelly, them showing up. I also wouldn't rule out Jazz, who is currently wrestling in Impact Wrestling but is on her retirement tour. I could definitely see her as someone. And of course, NXT, you have a ton of people. There has not been a Women's Royal Rumble without Xia Li, so why break tradition?
I love what they're doing with her.
Yeah, I love
that kick is vicious.
her.
I'm going to double down. I don't think any, because you list off these names, I'm at like 26, 27. I think I don't see any NXT.
Okay, so everyone I just mentioned is not going to show up. So
no, well, right.
So you also, I think
25. I'm sorry.
What about Piper Niven?
I'm going to give you a real deep cut one. Serena Sandhu, she was on the Superstar Spectacular, which was the
she'll definitely be in it. Yeah.
The big taping was broadcast into India, which was with a lot of Indian superstars. They've done this before with NXT UK, with Cruiserweight Classic, with Mae Young Classic. I definitely could see that happening. And then you're definitely going to see some. I definitely think you're going to see a Shotzi Blackheart.
I love that.
Rhea Ripley, like Vacc said, and I think she's going to be the Kane / Diesel of the tournament. The Rumble, I should say. And I think I wouldn't be surprised to see like Chelsea Green.
Oh, that could be a return.
That'd be a return of sorts. But yeah, these people, there's a lot that can happen in the Women's Rumble. My pick for the winner, despite all this, if Ronda's in it, she wins, because you're going to have Ronda lose, really. But to me, it's got to be Bianca Belair. Her and Sasha Banks putting two huge personalities against each other, that to me is like what they did, not on the same level, obviously, but it's like Rock and Austin. You're putting two huge personalities against each other, and everyone gets sucked in. We've not seen the tip of the iceberg with Bianca. She'll have this match with Bayley at Fastlane, I betcha, and she'll beat Bayley, and then she'll go on to Sasha, and we're going to have a hell of a SmackDown Women's Title match.
Yeah, I like what you're saying, Bill, and I would love to see.
I'm not hating it. I think Rhea, but I'm not hating Bianca if it does happen.
Yeah, and I would love to see Shotzi. Roll up in the
she's
tank
got to show up. Everyone loves Shotzi. She comes out in the tank. Come on.
So money. You knew she'd be great too. Ronda, we obviously know doesn't give a damn about her bad reputation. Matt, your thoughts on this one?
Bill touched on a lot of ideas I had. I'll say this: Taya Valkyrie. She comes out as Taya Valkyrie. It could still be a one shot. She comes out as Taya, just Taya.
Yeah.
More likely to be a signee. If she comes out with a shield and a spear and she's called Hilda Hagar, then it's done. She's a lock.
That's a deep cut to a
deal.
Saturday morning, a Sunday afternoon comments show.
One other name I'll throw out
I'm going to say a 5-year deal.
Possibly showing up, and longtime WWE fans will probably be like, who's that? Allison Kay is out there. Another possibility.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I am echoing what a lot of people are going. Rhea right now is my dark horse, and then you guys hear me?
Oh yeah.
Gotcha.
It froze up there for a second. Rhea's my dark horse, and she's probably either her or Raquel Gonzalez is going to be in there, tossing people out left and right, doing the Diesel Kane. But when it comes down to it, it's going to be either Bianca or Bayley eliminating the other one.
Awesome.
Because this thing they've had going back and forth for the last few weeks, it's gonna be like that.
Yeah, great stuff, all you guys. Really knocked it out of the park. We'll take it home with this one because I know we got 10 minutes till Dynamite starts.
Whatever, I can stream it on my phone.
So I do think incorporating Bliss, obviously, in this match, there's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of lights going out, a lot of costume changes, lots of supernatural stuff, which I'm always a fan of. I can't really.
Oh, will she enter 3 times, like the 3 faces of Foley? One is like
Goddess
Alexa Bliss, and like little like.
I mean, if they need people, but I think
I'm just joking.
I can't.
You're not the only person who said that.
For sure, but I came into the Ruthless Aggression era. Was there ever like a Rumble where there's a lot of supernatural stuff happening, maybe
Not
the
really,
Undertaker.
no.
So and that
Nor
going
should there
that,
be.
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. That being said, obviously teasing the return of the Fiend or the new incarnation of the Fiend, whatever it may or may not be. I could see that supernatural stuff maybe happening in the men's Rumble a lot, so we can get kind of cute with that stuff. And let's throw it to the men's Rumble. So far confirmed, we have Edge, which they announced ahead of time, which I think is actually smart because obviously you're not going to top that big return from last year. That was very organic. Dolph Ziggler, Sami Zayn. I can read with these glow glasses here. Mustafa Ali, Jeff Hardy doing the juke over here. Cesaro, Otis. Hit me with it, Mike.
Oh, yeah!
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yep.
AJ Styles, Sheamus, Jey Uso, John Morrison, The Miz, who again I'm not sure should be in this. No disrespect, he's just got the briefcase. Bobby Lashley, can't read what I wrote. Oh, D. Bry, heavy favorite. Big E, another heavy favorite, no pun intended. And Bill's personal longtime favorite, Randy Orton.
Well, did you say AJ Styles?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, sorry. That's the one I didn't hear. Yep.
Yeah, I know.
There is a ridiculous amount of men who are not in this Rumble yet with name value.
13 TBD I have marked down. It should be very interesting. So we'll throw this out again. We'll open up the floor if anyone has any ideas for any returns. Billy.
It pains me to say this, that I think the most logical return and winner of the Royal Rumble will be Brock Lesnar. And I'll tell you why. And it pains me to say it because does he need to? No. You have the automatic, if Drew retains, you have the automatic rematch with Drew after he embarrassed Brock Lesnar last year. If Goldberg wins, which would suck, he has his feud with Goldberg. If Roman Reigns retains, that's where it's interesting. Because Paul Heyman is now managing Roman Reigns, and that was Brock Lesnar's advocate forever. And now he's with Roman. He said, Paul, you could see him, Paul, you stopped answering my calls. Could we see everyone turn on Roman? Like Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman turns on him. The Usos turn on Roman because Roman's treated them so poorly. Or is this the match that you need Roman Reigns to have where you finally get the fans to back Roman Reigns 110% because they don't want to see Brock Lesnar win, and he is the cool heel, like Steve Austin, that everyone has wanted him to be even more because he beat the guy no one wants to see anymore in Brock Lesnar, the guy we've all criticized for holding the belt and never being there, the guy who's always handed the title more than Roman. That is a huge possibility because I'm not sure if his contract did expire at one point, but who knows if he's re-signed. They don't have to say if he's re-signed or not. That is a huge possibility that he returns to WWE and wins this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, again, we talk about that marquee. It's been done before, I believe, at WrestleMania, but different circumstances.
But a better story.
Yeah, for sure. Almost another passing of the torch. Like, maybe we don't see Brock as much as you think about it. Have we really seen Brock during this COVID era at all?
Outside of Mania, no, he was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, his
Passing of the torch and no passing of the beach balls this time.
Right. So, I can see that actually playing out. There was an interview with Triple H, like very, very recently. Brock, we don't know. He does what he wants.
Triple H doesn't know a lot of stuff until it happens. It's so weird how that works out.
Well, I mean, he's not gonna,
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Brock Lesnar. So I could really see that happening. I don't want it to happen, but you think about that WrestleMania marquee. There it is, the picture, a little bit different, and Roman is the new Brock in a lot of ways. Obviously, the Paul Heyman factor. I could really see that playing out. I'll open it up to the floor before we pick winners and dark horses. Any other returns that we see? Any debuts? Any unsigned? Matt?
I see one of the returns for that night not happening at the Rumble. I'm just looking at the timeline for his recovery. They're just sitting on Jimmy Uso.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll pop up. I think that's good.
They sit there. Somebody comes up with a way to keep Jey Uso not involved. There's two of them. There's always been two of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
And Jay's
man.
been wanting that singles push.
Yeah, they could really do the old switcheroo.
Yo, twin magic.
Yeah. And especially
God damn it,
No.
Twin Magic.
if we're building that faction, though, it's a no-brainer, obviously, to bring the other Uso in.
One
for sure.
theory that has been pushed out there is that Jey Uso will win and then abdicate his victory to Roman as the ultimate show of loyalty.
Oh,
I mean, that's
wow.
interesting. I
That's
don't
really
hate it.
interesting.
I
don't
do
hate
hate it, but like
I
I do
don't
hate it.
hate it because it's different.
No, it's definitely different, but it's just like, okay, then you have to do all this storytelling and you kind
Yeah.
of just crap on what the Rumble is.
No, I don't like that because it reminds me of when Vince won. It was just fused to further the Austin storyline because he advocated and gave it up, and we knew Austin was going to do it anyway. So, I think it's just a waste because the whole point of the Rumble is to elevate somebody. It's supposed to get that notch and that push. And then if they're already someone a main eventer, it's another thing to have onto their resume. Which if I was going, I'll get to my point later on.
Yeah, actually, I mean, if anyone doesn't have any more surprises,
got a couple
Go
more
ahead.
for you.
Go ahead.
All right,
Oh,
go
do
ahead,
you?
Bill. Go ahead, Bill. Tell your surprises. Go ahead.
I think so.
You can't rule. You can't rule. You can't see
That's
him right
true,
now,
yeah.
but you never know. But also the other one that's a real long shot that a lot of people have been speculating, that Switchblade Jay White from New Japan shows up. There's a lot of controversy over people saying he has a contract for 7 years in New Japan. Other people saying his deal is up. That would be a huge moment doing an AJ Styles. He doesn't have to win, but he shows up, has a hell of a run, and establishes himself as something big within WWE, a fresh new guy. The other one I'm just going to give you a wonky one, just because I think it's funny, is that Amas, AJ Styles' bodyguard, is going to enter.
No, I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can
It's a
definitely
good
see
spot
that.
for it. Do we see the big red machine popping?
Fucking Mayor Kane? I hope not.
I hope so. I love Kane, man.
Yeah, we know, Rob. We all know.
All right, let's go winners.
By
Let's
the
go
way,
winners. Mike,
there's
who you
about
got?
40 plus
All right.
guys that are not
Well-
entered in, including names like, I'm just giving you some names that you don't have in there right now. You don't have Rey Mysterio announced.
He'll be there.
You don't have Xavier Woods.
Dominic?
Who gives a fuck about Dominic?
Dominic deserves.
I'm sorry for the Royal Rumble.
Rookie of the year.
Wow, you had 2 matches. Kudos.
I mean, legit.
He's
no,
good.
he
Don't
legit
get me
won
wrong.
it.
He's
This is
good.
my
But
opinion.
don't give me Dominic over Ray or Xavier Woods.
No,
or
not
No, not
over.
over. Just as well.
I can see Dominic being one of the first couple entrants, having like a good 5 to 10
Yeah,
minute show, and
I mean,
he gets
they-
eliminated.
I see that.
Just,
I agree.
It just pains me.
He had a solid match with Rollins last year. Come on, Bill. You got to give it up to the kid.
No, he's fine and all, but I think we're not. From what I've heard, Aleister Black, don't even think about it. You don't have, like I said, Kane. Like Rob mentioned, King Corbin. He's going to be in there. Robert Roode. The other name we didn't mention, I forgot that as a surprise entrant is Seth Rollins, because there's a
He'll be
difference.
on.
Oh.
There's a difference. He didn't have the kid. So Seth Rollins could be a definite reintroduction of a main event player to to the mix. I can't see a WrestleMania without him. And then you have a ton of NXT guys who could show up. And I also think you're going to see Jinder Mahal. Like I mentioned, Jinder Mahal is going to be back in this one.
Yeah.
I think that's a
Yeah.
lock.
I hope whenever they bring Aleister Black.
Are they getting ready to launch the India thing soon? Is that kind of why, or is it just
The rumor and innuendo is the Superstar Spectacular is supposed to be the pilot kind of episode for NXT India.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah,
Very interesting. But let's take it home here, guys. Let's go winners. Vacc,
Okay.
go ahead, brother.
All right. Well, I mentioned it last year. I wrote a thing. And I said Sheamus, like after his feud with Jeff Hardy, Sheamus when he was doing the whole Guy Ritchie hooligan kind of thing with the fedora and the suspenders. What was that, Bill?
It's great. I love it.
No, I loved it too. And I said after he was done with Jeff Hardy, I'm like, I'd love to see him move on to Raw to feud with McIntyre because they have such a great history together. They have like 15 years of friendship starting in Europe, training together, came up together. It'd be cool if he won, but I don't see it happening. I'd love to see them have a match at Mania, like have Sheamus go heel. A Sheamus McIntyre match at Mania. I mean, Sheamus would be a dark horse. I don't see it happening because he did win it already. And he just started this new, quote-unquote face turn, although he's better as a heel. Heel Sheamus versus face McIntyre. But another dark horse I could see would be Big E. And, look, he's a guy who, if he wins, it was well-deserved. Kofi got his moment. He's been there a long time. He'd get his moment. And he'd be an actual physical threat to Roman. If he's going to face Roman, he's a guy who's like, hey, Roman, you boss people around. You're not going to push me around. I'm freaking gigantic. I will have a solid match. I would still think Roman would come out on top. But I got to go with the sentimental guy, and I got to go with Daniel Bryan. He's my pick.
Heavy favorite. Yeah.
He's a heavy favorite, but he is my pick because, yes, he's going to be scaling back several months. He's only going to be doing a couple matches a year, scaling it back, and well-earned. He's earned that part-time status. I think he deserves a Royal Rumble victory on his resume. He'll be like, and I hate to reference this, but he'll be like the Benoit was back in 2004, as far as, the best pure wrestler, finally getting his shot, blah, blah, blah. He's the kind of guy who will go to Roman and as soon as he gets a match with Roman, he'll be like, oh yeah, how am I going to put Roman over? How am I going to put him over? He'll be that kind of guy. He'll have a good 25-minute match with Roman, and I could even see Roman tapping him out at Mania if they have a match with that guillotine choke. But yeah, I'll go sentimental favorite. I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan, and no one's going to hate it. He's loved. He's respected. I'll go with that. I'll go with Daniel.
I think that's a safe pick. It's a heavy favorite. I don't see it happening. I think that time has already come and gone. This would be making up for something else. And like you said, Daniel Bryan's that guy. Like, hey, how am I putting this guy over? How am I putting this guy over? NXT, whatever it is. I love it. I'm all about it. He hasn't been wrestling that much either. He's been showing up here and there, but hasn't really been having a lot of matches. I don't see the marquee, like we keep saying, being Daniel Bryan taking on the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. The more Bill talks about it, man, I'm seeing that Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
My pick was either Big E or Keith Lee. I don't think it's going to be Keith Lee because we've seen him in that main event getting several heavyweight title shots against Drew McIntyre here and there, several matches with him. It's very interesting to me. I like Keith Lee a lot. He was phenomenal in NXT. I think the way WWE's been using him on Raw, there's been some missteps here and there. That, they don't know what to do with a guy like Keith Lee, and he's just amazing. So let's try to make it a little bit more organic. I'd love to see him win. I don't see it happening here. I don't see him fighting Drew again. Him versus Brock could be interesting, but again, that raises the question, do you get a pick which champion you get to fight this time around, which is a whole nother conversation. I see they invested in Big E. They gave him new music. They set him apart, obviously, from the New Day. There was no falling out feud. So Big E is kind of my front runner right now, but the more I think about it, man, that Brock thing, man, it makes so much sense. And
it really
does, and I hate that you brought that up, Bill.
Yeah, it really changes everything.
I hate it. But if it ain't Brock, this is really
Brock, don't fix it.
I would
just don't fix it. Yes.
Good night, everyone.
Winner and champion, Bill Bodkin, everybody.
They've invested in Big E. Maybe Big E takes on Roman. The more I say it out loud and I don't see it, and no disrespect to Big E, again, it just needs to be organic, and it doesn't seem like the way they would book things. I would love to see him get that opportunity. He so deserves it. He's great. I think even in an interview he just said he wants that fan feedback first. This is a headline, so take it for what it's worth. But, it's hard for them to gauge without the actual genuine fan reaction, which we totally get. You could see the difference just when they got the Thunderdome as opposed to having the four walls. The fans are so important, as we've learned definitely last year. But I digress. I was going to go Big E, but if Brock comes back, if it ain't Brock, don't fix it. Yeah. Man, you're getting in my head here, Bill. Who's your winner?
Well, if Brock Lesnar comes back, then it's definitely Brock Lesnar. If Brock doesn't come back, it's CM Punk. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's a tough call because the weird thing is, we shined up, they had Drew ready. They primed us for Drew, for him to win. And when he eliminated Brock, we're like, awesome! We don't have that this year, man. We just don't have it.
No, yeah.
So, just going through it, I think this is one of the harder rumbles to call in a long time. But I'm going to go a little bit left to center now. If I'm going to say who would I want to win, it would be Mustafa Ali, because That is the inverse of every WrestleMania story they've told, where he was robbed of his opportunity and now he's got it. Not going to happen. The Fiend would be great, especially if he did, which I heard on Fightful, I have to credit them for this, doing the Three Faces of Foley thing with Hawaiian Shirt Bray, Mr. Rogers Bray, and then The Fiend. That'd be cool. But ultimately, I'm going to go real left field on my pick. I'm going with Edge.
That's my pick. That's my pick.
Yeah, go ahead. Pick up
I'm
on
going to
that.
go with Edge because Edge is like, you see that promo and it's like,
Yeah.
you think like he could beat Drew.
Yeah.
And not Roman, but he'll go for Drew. And then after Drew, you get the Randy matches, which was inevitable because they had a third match that never happened. To me, you have Edge, if I'm booking it, and this has nothing to do with Randy Orton, you have Edge beat Randy, and then the next guy you want to be your star beats Edge. Because to me, beating the legend of Edge means more than beating Randy Orton. Again, nothing to do with my thoughts on Randy Orton. It's the legend of Edge.
No,
The
it will
Hall of
definitely
Famer Edge.
We'll definitely put McIntyre over more. and give
I'm not
him
saying
more.
McIntyre. I said this could be any wrestler.
Yeah, it could be either or.
Well, it'd be a battle of the spears. I mean, of course, that's what they want to hype.
It could be Roman. It could be, but I'm saying whoever. I don't think it's a made guy that you put against Edge. I think it's the next person you want to be the made guy. If I'm booking it, you put Edge against that person at SummerSlam, and that's how you go with it. So I'm going with Edge.
Nunez, you want to piggyback?
Yeah, I was gonna say. So my original pick was Keith Lee, but the more and more I thought about it, Big E made a lot of sense. I would love to have almost like an ultimate challenge thing where either he picks the Universal or the WWE and he has the Intercontinental title and it's title for title at Mania. But when Edge made his announcement, it just seems like it makes sense. Whether he fights Roman or whether he fights Drew, I feel like a win over Edge would be, or just a match with Edge at Mania. I feel like that makes sense. Now, I don't know who he fights. I think it makes more sense for Drew because Drew's still technically on the come up. Like Roman's already made. Like it doesn't matter what happens from here on out. Absolutely. Roman's made. Drew would need this win more so than Roman. So I pick Edge.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And Bill, you also brought up the Fiend. We talked about earlier, maybe some supernatural element, or I did. You talked about obviously the three faces of the Fiend. I could see the Fiend being a possible winner here.
Yeah.
The Fiend going on to take on Drew McIntyre, which we have not seen, correct?
It should definitely be McIntyre.
Because Bliss is on Raw.
Well, you know what the thing is like,
right?
Look, when McIntyre beat Strowman last year at SummerSlam, and then of course Roman Reigns came back. It was flip-flop. And yes,
yeah, exactly.
You know what sucked? It's like, oh my God, the Fiend's got it back. He never should have lost in the first place. He lost to Goldberg. Then he lost it a week later to Roman. You know what? It sucked, but it was okay because Roman's been amazing. So it's almost like you took a potential awesome heel run and you gave it to somebody else. And that's okay because Roman's been doing great. Roman's proven that he earned it. But the Fiend heel run against McIntyre, ooh. Then you have a thing. Then you can decide who's going to win.
Super good guy.
It has to be the Fiend because if you don't have the Fiend win, it's just essentially Bray Wyatt again with a mask. A guy you build up, and then he loses every time there's a big match.
But this is going to be a Super Shredder version of this already Super Shredder.
And people came at me when I said the whole Alexa Bliss going into the Doctor Who parallel universe was dumb. They're like, oh, you must have hated The Undertaker. The Undertaker was built up over decades with this. Yeah. He wasn't shooting lightning and turning, and doing all this crazy shit day one. But every time the Fiend loses, let's just add more supernatural stuff to him. Let's give him Alexa Bliss. Let's do us. It doesn't work.
All right, well, let's throw it to you, Matt.
All right. Like a lot of you, my dark horse, somebody who is more like wishful thinking. It would be a nice rocket to strap to Keith Lee.
Yeah, it would. That's what I was saying.
I'll say this. Supposedly they're going to be revealing who's number 30 later this week, if they haven't already done it.
On Saturday on Backstage.
Oh, why would you do that, though?
Yeah, well, I agree with that.
I'll tell you why.
Watch Backstage.
I'll tell you exactly why they're going to do it. Because they haven't realized that if Daniel Bryan is in the Rumble, you don't have to worry about people booing the shit out of number 30 when it's not him.
Who's booing him,
That-
though?
You know, that's him. He's in it, and really, I wish they hadn't mentioned that it's like the one thing he hasn't accomplished in WWE, because, and I'm sure they can, if they won't, he will. They got to tell a hell of a story with him in the Rumble itself to not get a significant amount of people shitting all over it, because, gosh darn it, he deserves it, and anyone who thinks otherwise is an asshole, and they go with that. That said, I'm sure he's going to be the centerpiece of the Rumble. Just instead of throwing out 9 guys, I see him going over the rope and hanging on like every 5 minutes that he's in there multiple times. But in the end, I'm putting it to Edge. I'm putting it to Edge, and I just thought that that's what they wanted. They wanted Edge for WrestleMania, but when Bill laid out that plan, Edge goes there, Edge beats Drew, he takes, he beats Randy to finish their bit out, and then at SummerSlam, Edge loses to T-Bar, and they have their new star.
It's T-Bar Mania running wild and everywhere. Hell of a Twitter follow, by the way. T-Bar Mania.
T-Bar Mania. We're making shirts. It's happening.
Boy. Wow.
They got a guy 6'7" doing corkscrew moonsaults and cutting promos, and let's put a mask on him.
That was match of the year for me last year.
Yeah,
Him and Keith Lee from North American title take over Portland.
That could be for another podcast, because I'm like, you do have a great group of talented guys all together. Take the friggin' masks off and just call just have them call the underutilized or some shit.
You could call them Retribution without the masks and having them coming out like they're monsters, like when they walk out and they're all shaking and going nuts, like The Walking Dead or some shit. It's
but I mean, they could all talk about the fact that they've been afterthoughts.
We're so far off the rails today.
Maybe the fact that
listen,
they've had opportunities.
T-Bar Mania is legit. I agree with Mike. I agree with Mike. Right. You could do a million things with them, and they'd be way better than what they're doing.
Well, yeah, Shane Thorne, Dijakovic, Mia Yim, what's
Dio Madden, right?
Dio Madden, and obviously Mustafa. Anyway, but I mean, you can all talk about guys who were like, "Oh, we had opportunities and they were taken from us," or "We haven't had opportunities yet," or "We've been overlooked." And you know what? Screw you all. Well, we're taking our own opportunities now. So, and we're all obviously very talented athletes. Obviously, Ali had great things, a year or two ago, and I like the whole Kofi thing, and I brought that up. Dijakovic, oh God, see any of his matches with Keith Lee, you know what we're talking about. But
T-Bar.
All right, let's get this. Let's get
it.
Let's
Why
get
that is not his thing?
Oh,
why doesn't he do this? When he's gonna hit his finisher, he goes, it'd be over like Rover. Come on now.
gosh.
Come on.
So
if 3-2-1 Claymore could work.
Just got to put him in a box or under a sheet, and that's it.
All right. Well, looks like, looks like Matt, Bill, and Edge, or Matt, Bill, and Nunez are just like Lady Gaga because they're on the edge. So,
nice.
let's take it home here, guys.
You worked hard.
All right, we're so far. This is what happens when we get the whole crew together.
Nothing's better than T-Bar Mania.
Oh boy, hashtag T-Bar Mania. All right, guys, just bring back Dijakovic.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, if T-Bar, you tweet this at him, it's like we're talking T-Bar Mania, you're getting that retweet. Hardcore. 100%. He's like, listen, people love T-Bar.
Dijakovic. Love Dijakovic.
Well, right now.
All right. Well, all right. Well, let's...
T-Bar.
All right, let's get ready for Dynamite and NXT. Guys, thank you so much for doing this. Let's get a little shameless promo out of the way. Of course, we have our big BCP 200 on Sunday airing at 1 o'clock. We had bands, 200 episodes. What a ride it's been. It's all for Feeding America. Our goal is to raise $500 on the stream on Sunday. We've already raised over $500. We've already met our goal. Let's try to double it. Let's try to keep raising more money. We have a lot of great superstar autographs to give away, random drawings. We have gift cards. We have books. We have indie talent sending in stuff to be given away. So thank you to everyone involved. We have live bands sending in some performances. Our good friend, Mr. Eddie Souls, Charles Leader and the Mischief, Kathleen L sending in some stuff. Yeah, a round of applause. Thank you, everyone, for just contributing and making time and donating. That's going to be Sunday, 1 p.m. EST. We are
setting the T-bar.
Yeah, there it is. I was waiting for it. There will be no T-bar.
Oh, we did the elbow?
So check out BCP 100 on Facebook Live on the Pop Culture Podcast. 200, thank you. We're so far gone.
I got you.
And, of course, on twitch.tv/Bob Culture Podcast. This is enough shameless promo for me. Thank you guys for doing this. Let's send it over to Bill real quick because I know he's got to watch Dynamite.
Yeah, I suppose the feed on the app is dead, so people are pissed. T-Bar. Yeah, I still have to eat dinner. Jesus. I am the editor-in-chief of thepopbreak.com. Check us out every single day, thepopbreak.com. If you're a wrestling fan, an independent wrestling fan, GCW, Fight Forever, 24-hour wrestling show, you might hear some live reads about thepopbreak.com. Very stoked about that. Also, check us out on our new Twitter handle, @thepopbreak, because I decided to make it shorter instead of that long gobbledygook I had before. We are at the Pop Break on Instagram, /popbreak.com, all spelled out on Twitter. On Facebook. And I am the host of the Socially Distanced Podcast, which drops every single Thursday on Apple, Anchor, Google, and Spotify. So check that out. Give a rate, review, and subscribe. And guys, always, forever, T-Bar Mania.
Knew that was coming. Matt, tell everyone where they can follow you on social media and check out some of those delicious meats that you're cooking up.
Yeah, if you want to go on Twitter and check me out at Anti-Smark, Anti-Smark with 2 A's. You can see me tag Bill in just about anything that involves Randy Orton and try to get into arguments with Baron Corbin about dry rub versus saucing.
Well, Matt, I got to ask you a question. On, you're posting your meats. Do you do a lot of T-bones?
Yes, it's happening.
T-bone.
It's not going away.
It's not going away. All right. Thank you guys for doing this. This was awesome. Let's get out of here. Yeah, round of applause. Good job getting the whole social media. And like we always say here on the BCP, everyone stay safe, stay positive, take care of each other, and T-Bar Mania. We are out.
There it is.
Peace.
There it is.